Alright, what's going on, everybody? Got another super helpful video for y'all here today. Outside enjoying sunset here. Got my lappy toppy slippy sloppy out here. And you see the title of the video, should you be training to failure or should you not? Again, like some of the past videos I've been putting out, science-based. And if it's not science-based, because I probably read 5 or 6 articles, if not more. And I only ended up pulling things from 3 articles because it started getting a little rhetorical, and some sites even said stuff and there was no references or anything, so I threw them out. And the first one I'm gonna go through here, I pulled from 3 different things, and the main one here, I'm gonna link everything. I'm linking 3 articles all in the description there. Everything's be science backed. You can go check out all the links there if you want to see that. Hopefully I'm not too white out here. Hopefully you can see a little difference from the stringer. Anyway, let's get into it. The first one, here we go. When comparing a wide array of training variables, number of reps, rep speed, and loading, etc., muscle growth is the same if sets are taken to failure. So it doesn't matter. I'll link my other video about whatever site it comes up on, about the hypertrophy range being a myth. Basically, you can lift to any rep range as long as you're going basically to failure or very close to failure, you're making gains. Anyway, that's a different video. Let's get back to this. Training to failure is likely safe, or at least there's no direct evidence that it's particularly dangerous. Training to complete failure isn't likely necessary to maximize growth. You can likely leave a couple reps in the tank. Unfortunately, people aren't very good at knowing how close to failure they actually are. Taking the set to failure idiot-proofs it to make sure you've maximized the stimulus. Like I said, I went through all these articles and just took a few key notes out. Okay, the bottom line is that training to failure helps make sure that you're actually working hard enough for your muscles to grow. As far as we can tell, it's safe, but it's neither necessary nor a magic bullet, meaning you don't have to do it. It doesn't validate the assertion that training to failure is required or enhances growth over the other training conditions. Now, if I say something like that and it doesn't completely fall in like a perfect sentence because I grabbed it out of the articles, like it might have went through a study and then that was the end there, it doesn't validate the assertion that training to failure is required or enhances growth over other training conditions. I just grabbed that one piece out that's going to give the most knowledge and information out, and help you with the topic of the video. Training to failure meant completing more work for a comparable amount of growth. There are relatively few direct comparisons on the effects of training to failure on muscle growth. Data regarding the superiority of training to failure is mixed, with some studies showing increased benefit while others show equivalence to training short of failure. Arguments against training to failure center on the potential for elevated risk of injury, altered hormonal responses to training, and the creation of a metabolic environmental inhibitory to growth. These arguments are largely theoretical in nature, lacking objective data on the outcomes of interest. I'm going to repeat this again because I saw this on other sites reading, and then this one actually says there's no data proving that. It's all theoretical. Arguments against training to failure center on the potential for elevated risk of injury, altered hormonal responses to training, and the creation of a metabolic environmental inhibitory to growth. Okay, these arguments are largely theoretical in nature, lacking objective data on the outcomes of interest. Evidence that training to failure may cause a disproportionate amount of fatigue, which could negatively impact training frequency. Saying if you go crazy, everything's going to failure on your chest day 1, well, you're not going to be able to come back and hit your chest again probably until longer if you train, not to complete failure. That's all from the first link there. Second link here. Training to failure only on the last set of given exercise. This is supported by research showing that failure on the last set of each exercise results in greater muscle growth and strength. Now, I didn't see a link to that. I'm not sure. I didn't see a link to that, but again, this is coming from the second link down below if you want to go check into it. Individuals using beyond failure intensity techniques should factor in additional rest when doing so. Allow your body to recover. That's kind of touching on the same thing from the first article there. Again, but I haven't, I've tried to experiment it some, but I just like pushing it, and I always just basically go to my form breaks down, or when I can't do another form with a rep with good form. But I also, you know, rep one out sometimes and my form gets a little bit off, and then I completely call it, because I just like pushing it. And I've tried to experiment. I hadn't ran a long enough experiment training like just say 2 to 3 reps short of failure versus training very close to failure like I normally do, and see how it affects my recovery rate. But like I said, all the data is saying it's going to take you longer to recover, a little bit longer. Now how much longer, I don't know. You're going to have to experiment yourself and see. Alright, third article here worth noting. The good news: taking a set to absolute failure creates a greater stimulus than not doing so. Again, this one didn't have any science linked to it, and then the one with the science said there's been studies showing that it has, studies showing that it hasn't. Well, this says a greater stimulus, so maybe a greater stimulus for sure, but you know, the growth and strength from it, it's not really any difference. Or there's studies showing, you know, the same thing, different. The bad news: it also creates a disproportionate amount of fatigue, which can negatively affect the rest of your workout or your other workouts that week. I've even seen people do this, like they won't take, just say it's back day, okay, first thing's pull-ups. Well, the first whatever how many sets, they won't take it, they won't go like balls to the wall in the first set or second set, because they're like, you know, I want to save more for the rest of my pull-up sets. If I'm doing, just say 4 sets, I want to go to complete failure on set 1, because then it alters the rest of your sets. I keep seeing like examples of people saying, just say if you're doing 4 sets, you go to complete failure on set 1, rep 1, set 1, and just say you got 15, okay? Set 2, you get 10, set 3, you get 6, and then you get 4. But I keep seeing, like saying, if you went, instead of going 15 to absolute failure, if you would have went 12 or 13, then instead of getting 10, you could have maybe got 12 or 13. And then if you don't take that one all the way to failure, you know, you might have got 10 or 11, and instead of 4, you could have got 8 or 7 or something. You know what I'm saying? So what the argument is instead of taking it to absolute failure, and some things I've seen is saying, you know, you actually end up getting more volume by going less close to failure. But a good little note that it did mention was it is hard to judge sometimes, you know, how many more you can go. You know, when you're doing them, it's kind of hard to say, okay, I can do 3 more and that's it. I mean, could you really do 3 more? It's been tested. Jeff Nippard did a video, a bunch of people, they sat them down on a bench press and said, okay, put a weight on here, whatever, what you think your 10 rep max would be, and go and do as many as you can. And like, I forget the exact numbers, but I don't think I'm quoting. It's been a little bit since I've seen the video, but I'm pretty sure like majority of the people underguessed their strength. So they were taking like their 10 rep max and they were doing like 15 or 14 or 16 or something. You know, majority of the people were doing that. So it's very hard to judge, but by going basically you can't do another rep. Again, always keep performing. You don't want to be just benching, you know, like that and crap, flailing your elbows up like crazy and everything. But it's a very safe way to do it, how I do it. Even y'all seen, if y'all keep up with some of the videos, like you keep up with me, I've shown in the past. I'll probably make another video on this, but even like just say I'm doing overhead press, well, I'm pressing like, even if I know, okay, I'm probably like 99.9999% not gonna get this next rep, I'll push it anyway. I'll go for it, and like it'll, you know, whatever, I'm here, and I put it down. Now see, I keep perfect form throughout the whole grind. Now if I started doing all kind of crap with my lower back and all, I could get it up, right? But I don't do that. I keep it perfect form, but then go to failure with it. Now you could even cut that, you know, you can kind of know when you're 1 rep away from failure, but I see people saying do like a 7 or 8 rep per like expenditure, which means leave 2 or 3 in the tank. That's a little harder, I can always pretty much gauge 1, but even 2 sometimes gets a little tricky. And just to feel like you're, giving it a good effort has some merit to me too. Even though you might not be getting really much more out of that effort. I don't really know. Like I said, it's kind of up for debate. There's not really much studies on it. But a note here, back to the notes. Note, I use the term technical failure. This is kind of touched on what I just touched on. I should have maybe just said this first. Or it doesn't matter anyway. I was going to say this regardless. Anyway, I use the term technical failure to stress that sets should never be taken past the point of form breakdown. Can't reiterate that enough, so it's alright to, I could say this 5 more times and it's validated. Like, you want to make sure you keep that. Because if you're lifting and you get hurt, I mean, just say even if you lifted for 6 months, well, there goes 2 months backwards to where you started. You're not going to be lifting. Train hard, but train smart. Okay, I use the term technical failure to stress that sets should never be taken to the point past form breakdown. Every single rep should always look exactly the same aside from speed. So, when you're grinding those last ones out and they get tough, they're getting slower, but always keep that good form. You should take your sets. Now this is one I think for sure you should always do if you do this one here. You should take your sets to failure when you're only going to do 1 set in that workout for that particular, like if you're going to just do 1 exercise or whatever for chest, like for whatever reason your time crunch or that's just how your program is, you're coming in, you're doing 1 set of bench, 1 set of pull-ups, 1 set of squats, 1 set of side raises or whatever. If you're just doing 1 set, for sure push that thing like balls to the wall, but again, perfect form. Obviously on certain things like a pull-up, you can, when you're pulling, you can like sit there and strain like crazy and then just let yourself down. But like with a bench, if you're in there in the gym by yourself and you're here and you get stuck, like make sure if you're lifting, never put clips on, because you're probably gonna have to do the dumping method. I actually know somebody who tore their pec doing that. So what I always do now, if I ever get stuck, but I haven't gotten stuck in a long time, keep it here. And it's harder when you're on the incline, but still I've done it there before too. But it hurts, but you roll it down your body to like your hips, and then you sit up in the bench and you just stand up with it, re-rack it. But yeah, that's it for the video. I just wanted to get that knowledge out real quick. Like I say, I'm trying to always read and always do, thinking fitness, bodybuilding, how I can get some more of these gains going on. So anytime I read and get some new information, I'm thinking, okay, I wonder if this would do better than this. I'm experimenting on things all the time. Like, well, I'll read or I'll experiment, and then I'll make a video and pass it on to y'all, because I want y'all to get the the benefit without having to go through it, without having to sit there and read 6 articles. Majority of people don't like to read, so I'll just give you, take notes from these things, throw it up on here, and hopefully you watching can get some. I'm so tempted to record that plane, but I'm not. I'm just gonna enjoy it for a second. I love plane gazing. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed it. Thanks to everybody subscribing. I hit 202. It keeps fluctuating, but I mean, I've been gaining subscribers like every day almost, it seems like, and that's pretty new. Hit the 200 mark. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. But that's it for this one. What am I on? 14 minutes. I easily make videos go on long. I can talk forever, especially about fitness stuff. So anyway, that's gonna be it for this. I don't want to keep this video rambling too long. I don't know if that hinders people from watching some of my videos because they see the long playtime. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one though. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Stay happy, stay healthy. Go make y'all some gains. Peace out. Fucking naughty.